Thank you, everyone. I think I need to hand over the microphone again to Dubravka.
Well, no, just stay where you are. Maybe just don't block the...
Yeah.
So we've heard now the welcome speeches, and I think we have a very good basis for the rest of the discussion. So now we are moving on to the first part of our conference today, which is the official launch of the two tools that you've heard so much about already. So first, Vasilis and I will give you a very short introduction about the Creatives Unite. Actually, I sincerely hope that most of you, or all of you, know about Creatives Unite already, but in case not, we'll just give you kind of a brief introduction. So this is our website. As you might know, the Creatives Unite was born in 2020 in response to the corona pandemic. So it was the initiative of the Commissioner Maria Gabriel, and the idea was to really respond to a very urgent need that we all know came at that moment, that of course the sector was in very big trouble, one of the ones which are most hardly hit by the pandemic, of course. But at the same time, there was also a great response from the side of the sector in helping the society, in helping the people through preserve their mental health and other ways of simply making them go and survive this crisis. So at that time, there were just so many initiatives popping out from all sides, both for the sector in terms of financial support, or other things, surveys, calls for action, but also, as we said, many different initiatives that needed to be recorded somewhere. As we all know, the social networks work very fast. I don't know where it was that average tweet lives for 18 minutes and that's it. So in a way, all this information was pouring into the ether and then just disappearing. And there was really a need to capture it all and to make sure that it's preserved somewhere, but also that it's very easily accessible and that people can look through it and find what is necessary for them. So that's how Creatives Unite was born, where we tried to really capture all the initiatives that were popping out at the time, and then you can then browse through them through, for instance, sector, as you can see if you're from architecture, video games, visual arts, culture, heritage, and so on, or by the types of area where you're from, if it's a specific for your country or general for the whole Europe, but also by the type of action. So is it a survey? Is it a policy recommendations? Is it an event online? Is it a workshop? Is it funding opportunity that you could look at? So of course there was an... Okay, maybe you want to take over?
Okay, I will take over, don't worry. So... Yep. Okay, I will use this one. We have also kind of categorized all relevant actions, and we are trying to monitor all activities. And we soon realized that, unfortunately, the COVID crisis would not be the only challenge that our creative world will face. So there was a point that suddenly also the war in Ukraine happened. And we felt that there was, again, a new wave and a new urgency, and that there were many people responding also to that need. So we started expanding, and we added also the second focus of the Creatives Unite platform, which was the Ukraine crisis. And just to say, because we never say it publicly, but of course we condemn war. We are totally against any form of violence and this war, and we hope that it ends soon. So we tried also to record everything, all the responses that are happening from our sectors, also for this awful time now. But we realized that also Creatives Unite is a really valuable tool and that we should keep it alive. So we will go on tackling all new emerging issues and monitoring all activities. So we feel and we want Creatives Unite to become a one-stop shop for all creative people and, of course, hubs. And we're going to be adding next valuable tools for everyone so that you can function. I think Barbara Eliel did our work actually and described why those tools are important and what are the tools. But you can see on the top right now the three current active tools. The tools have been activated today for public use. We have been testing for quite a while, and we're going to be still developing for the next years. And there are also tools that we foresee that will become the main tools for our sectors to identify finance opportunities, to also secure our work, our intellectual property, but also to exchange amongst us. So these are the three tools that we have currently available. But we are also thinking and preparing next tools that will help our sectors. This is the general view of the central website. And up to now, it had project contributions. But in the future, we are starting also an editorial version, so that users will have also a more editorial content approach, and selected topics also coming to their email by newsletters and other activations in social media. And of course, we foresee in the future to do also Creatives Unite physical events, something that we haven't discussed yet, but that's another ambition. So I hope this works out in the future, in the
I just want to add one point that we said from the start that this platform is for the sector, by the sector, and we really like to stand behind it because there is a contribute button, and actually any one of you could submit your event, your book, whatever it is that you're doing for us to upload it on the platform, and it immediately reaches a broad audience. We have over 60,000 users Europe-wide. So I think that's really what is really great about it, is that we can also give the chance to the little, the SMEs, the small organizations to really reach a much wider audience as well. Maybe we stop
that's all
here, exactly.
Yep.
So super happy to finally launch the tools after a very, very long hours and hours of work. We'd like to invite Eveline, our colleague from Idea Consult, on behalf of the whole team, to talk about the tool, as well as Anna Zo, who is one of the inspiring cases that will present how they are using the financing mix to float.
Okay, dear all, welcome to this session on the So You Need Money tool. It's an online tool that we developed for people working in the cultural and creative sectors that are looking for money. And so this tool addresses the challenges that you face when you're looking for money. Like for example, you find it difficult to understand the financial jargon that's used by bankers or investors, or you're unsure about how to approach potential financiers and what you can actually bring to the table to convince them to finance your project or organization. Often you also don't know what types of finance you can actually access, or what are most suitable financing sources for you. And so this tool addresses these challenges and helps you to, first of all, to better understand the language used by financiers, but also it helps you to get an overview of the different financing sources that you can access according to, for example, the reasons that you're looking for money, or your legal structure. And the tool also wants to really inspire you by sharing the stories of cultural and creative professionals and organizations that have already gone through this financing journey and that share their learnings with you. But we'll show you how the tool works by giving you a short demo. So first of all, I told you that the tool helps you to better understand the language used by financiers, and this is how. So on top of the page, you see the different financing sources that are listed there, and you can click on these to get more information on what is this about. So if you click, for example, on philanthropy, you get more information. So what is this philanthropy? what's in it for me, how does this work, but also, for example, on how can I attract a philanthropist. So it really helps you understand their language, their way of reasoning, and how you can approach them. Secondly, the tool also wants to give you an overview of the different financing sources that you can access or that are most suitable for you according to different criteria that actually corresponds to different steps in your financing journey. So the first criterion or the first, let's say, step in your financing journey is to reflect on the reasons that you're looking for money, because thinking about why you need money is actually the most important step before you approach potential financiers, because different financing needs may require different financing sources. And so this corresponds to the first filter that we have there on our So You Need Money tool. We can select, for example, to research and develop new ideas. That might be the reason that you're looking for money. And if you want more information on what these different options mean, you can always hover over the question marks. So if we select that, then we get, as a result, you see there, all the finance providers that offer financing to research and develop new ideas. Now, a second step in your financing journey is to reflect on your legal structure, as your legal structure also affects the financing sources that you can access, and this corresponds to the second filter in the tool. So we can, for example, select a non-profit organization, and then you get all finance providers that offer financing to research and develop new ideas to non-profit organizations. And then a third step is to think about, but in what stage of my development am I in? What is my phase in my life cycle, as this can also impact the finance providers that you can have access to. So let's, for example, select a growing organization, and then again, the tool filters those finance providers that offer financing to non-profits that are growing and that look for money to research and develop new ideas. And then finally, of course, your location also impacts the financing sources that you can access. I'm Belgian, so let's, for example, select Belgium, and then we get our final search results. So these are 4 finance providers that offer financing to growing non-profit organizations located in Belgium to research and develop new ideas. And as you can see here, we have 2 public funding providers. You see it in the different logos, and then one microcredit provider and one impact investor. And then you can click, for example, on the microcredit provider, and then you get an explanation of what is this microcredit provider, in which countries does it offer financing, what are the eligibility criteria to obtain a microcredit, what is the minimum loan amount I can ask, what is the maximum loan amount, what is the website, what are the contact details, voila. So these are your search results, which you can then download in your personal financing toolkit, and you can generate a PDF file then. We want to say that this is work in progress, so we're still adding finance providers throughout, and you, as Dubravka and Vasilis mentioned, you can add your suggestions via the contribute button. But besides wanting to give you an overview of the different financing sources that you can have access to in your financing journey, we also want to inspire you via our resources page. And this really includes a wealth of information. For example, the first page is on the financing mix, and this really explains this page. What is a financing mix? What are potential internal financing sources? So what kind of financing sources can I generate myself as an organization? What are types of external financing sources? How can I differentiate between these, and so forth? Then secondly, we also provide tips for you, so general tips on how to get started in your financing journey, but also really specific tips, for example, on a crowdfunding campaign or impact investors and venture philanthropists. Then we have an extra page on toolkits and guides. Those provide links that can support you when you're looking for finance, that can help you further. And then finally, the one I like most are the inspiring cases. So these are really all cases of cultural and creative professionals and organizations that have already gone through this financing journey and that share their experience and their learnings with you. So if we click, for example, on the case of Music Innovation Hub, you see, if we scroll down, that we show you, what types of external financing sources do they use, but also how do they generate money themselves, what are the key learnings from this case, and then if you're triggered, you can read on to learn more about this. So I have, we have here the case of Music Innovation Hub, and that brings me to Anna Zo, who's sitting next to me here. She's operations manager of Music Innovation Hub, and I gladly give the floor to Anna to present Music Innovation Hub, and then we'll have an exchange on the financing journey and what the people here in the room can learn from this, and to share your experiences.
Sure.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you very much. First of all, thanks a lot for the invitation to this family. As it was said before, I'm really glad of being part of this amazing project, so thanks everyone. So, I'm operations manager at Music Innovation Hub, hub which, as it was mentioned before, it means like kind of everything and nothing at the same time. We are, I'm gonna try to briefly explain what we do. It's a lot of things in the music field. So we are vertical on the music sector. We are a social enterprise based in Milan. If we go to the next slides, we are actually based, thank you so much. We are actually based in Base, which is a creative hub, which I'm pretty sure it was and still is part of the Creative Hub network. It's a creative hub based in the heart of Milan, in Tortona area. In this space, we have our own space, which is called the Music Rooms. That's a project house, meaning basically a co-working area that we manage together with Base, and that's a place where mostly music professionals, but also video makers, media professional, designers can rent a space and work from there. And we also have this very innovative music studio, which is called La Capsula, and that's a live studio for immersive sound, which is basically one of the new frontiers in music technology, and is like the equivalent of 3D video, but for music. So it gives you an immersive experience, and is one of the few in Europe, actually. So we use this space for workshops, for performances, for music production, for recordings, etc., etc. One of our main projects, it's called Line Check Music Meeting and Festival. That's a project that has been running since 8 years now. Music Innovation Hub is only 4 years old, but it acquired the brand of Line Check in 2018. Line Check is, let's say, the main B2B music platform for Italian music ecosystem, but also to connect it to the international music sector. It's a 5 days conference and showcase festival. Showcase festival means basically, which is like not a festival where we try to sell as many tickets as possible, booking very famous artists, but like we try to book like independent, emerging, international artists to get them known by booking agents from other countries, or like to management agencies, or like labels, and try to, it's like a networking activity. So that's happening at the end of November, so we are working very hard at the moment. And yeah, it's a 5 days B2B event. That really links to, sorry, the presentation in Italian, but I just want to show you the picture, so you don't have to read the text. Line Check purpose is very much like capacity building for music professionals in Italy and in Europe. That's what it's what we do not only during the days of line check, of course, which is 1 week during the whole year, but we try to do that all year long with different kind of activities. We partner up, for instance, with a big university in Milan, which is called SAI Institute, to develop a music business course, like to educate new professionals and young students who want to enter the music business. And we do that a lot through European projects as well, which is, as we will see later, one of our main source of financing as well. Here I mentioned 2 of them. One is JUMP, that was running for the last 3 years and is a program to support innovative ideas in the music sector. And one is Music Tech Europe Academy, which is a project that just received a 3 years grant after a pilot project that was developed. So it's going to be running for the next 3 years. We're very happy about that. And it's an acceleration program for startups that combine music and new technologies. And we support them, we mentor them, and we try to connect them also to investors and financiers. Other projects related to music innovation, technological development, and linked to the European Commission. One was also Creative Shift, which is a pretty similar project to what we are seeing right now, but it was a pilot project to connect and to foster synergies between different cultural and creative sectors. We work a lot also on social innovation. So for us, innovation is not just tech innovation, it's not just digital innovation, but it's social innovation as well. We are very happy to be one of the founding partners of Key Change, which is a program that fosters gender balance in the music sector that has been running for 3 years now, and very successfully, I must say. One of our the other event, which is one of the main and flagship event of Music Innovation Hub, beside Line Check, is called Heroes. That's an event that every year changes the topic. It usually connects with a big music event in Italy. This year, for instance, it was connected to the tour of a very famous Italian artist, promoted by one of the big promoters in Italy called Friends and Partner. And with them, we worked on the topic of sustainable live touring. So we worked with them to develop a protocol for sustainable live events, and we toured with them all over Italy to educate and present the protocol to local promoters all over Italy. So Heroes is, let's say, our main event, our flagship event regarding sustainability and social innovation in the music sector. These are some of the partners we've been working with and clients, because I'm going to dive into the financing mix further during the interview. But yeah, we work a lot as well as consultancy and with brands and other companies to create projects related to music that always relate music, tech innovation or social innovation. But yeah, we do work a lot with companies and brands as well. So that's pretty much it.
Thanks very much, Anna. So yeah, we said you already went through this financing journey, and actually you combine various sources of internal finance, where you generate your own income with very tailored set of external financing sources that are really tailored to these activity lines that you just presented, and also to the values that these stand for. And could you elaborate on your main sources of financing, and why you chose this, for example, for a specific activity line?
Yeah, sure. So maybe it's good to start from the fact that Music Innovation Hub is a social enterprise. So it's a kind of a mixed and new model for the cultural and creative sector, especially in Italy. I don't know about other countries, but it's kind of a new form. That means that we can actually generate profit as long as we reinvest it in the research and development of the activities that we promote. So we are categorized as non-profit, but in this sense of social enterprise. Music Innovation Hub started in 2018 with many stakeholders, not many, with 3-4 main shareholders. One of them is a foundation, a very big Italian foundation called Fondazione Cariplo. They have a specific department which is focused on impact investing, and that's the department that financed the Music Innovation Hub, giving an initial capital. Other shareholders are, for instance, Base, so the creative sector the creative hub that we saw, and different business angels that we gathered, and we asked them to finance Music Innovation Hub through an equity crowdfunding platform that's called Lita. There was an attempt of mixing the equity crowdfunding model and with the cultural sectors, which was pretty successful in terms of capital raised, but the trick that I must say also to share all the experience is that like the platform was very useful to connect with investors that we already knew that would have invested in Music Innovation Hub, and less helpful in reaching out to new investors.
Audiences.
So
Yeah.
it was more,
Okay.
it was not really crowd, it was
Yeah.
more like raising funds and raising investments.
So if you would do it again, you would more use the crowdfunding idea and to reach out to new audiences.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
okay.
Which I think is the sense of the
Yeah,
crowdfunding. So maybe it's something that I don't know if it was us who couldn't manage to reach out to new investors and new crowds, or if it was just it's something that still has to develop a little bit, especially in Italy, something that is not super established yet. And in terms of source of financing of different mix of financing lines, as I mentioned, we are a startup. Like we can consider ourselves as a startup because we are less than 4 years old. That means that we are trying to find our way of existing in the market, and we did that through experimenting different models. First of all, as you saw, like we are based in a physical space, so we do use our infrastructure and our assets for rent. So we do rent out working stations and the music studio, La Capsula, the immersive music studio. So that's internal financing as we rent out the spaces. We do organize events. So the events that we organize are either ticketed, so we do sell tickets for the event that we organize, or sponsored. So we work a lot as well with the brands and mostly industry partners that want to support us to create the platforms that we create. So basically, is often more, we call it more partnership than sponsorship because of this reason. So it's ticketing and sponsorship partnership. We work a lot with public grants as well. So as you saw, we are part of different European projects. I must say we work more with European Commission rather than with Italian public administration. Even though we do work with Minister of Culture, with the Municipality of Milan and the region, but for smaller projects, if we wanna, we are very fond of internationalization and international cooperation, so we look more for European grants. And it's easier. We've been luckier with that rather than at a national level. And then we work a lot as well with as a consultancy. Not a lot. We wish we could work more in this sense, but it's something that we are trying to support, to foster more. For instance, I was mentioning you the music business course that we are developing with different universities. That's kind of a consultancy in the sense that the university call us and pay us to help them create the educational path for the vertical music business. Or for instance, the live tour that we organize with the big Italian promoter, Friends and Partner. They ask us to develop this protocol for sustainable live events, and they treated us as a consultant to help them create the tour of this Italian singer. So it's a different, it's very different, it's a very wide mix composed of sponsorship, ticketing, rentals, public funds, and consultancy coming from industry partners or industry company. I mean,
yeah, I think that's really interesting to show how you can combine these different financing types. I think one aspect that's really interesting as well is that the Cariplo Foundation really mainly finances your social activities or your educational activities. So it also shows that you can combine these different values and also attract different types of financiers for that. I think we had a really good overview of your financing journey and how you try to learn and grasp these different financing sources. Is there one piece of final advice you would like to share with the people present here on your learnings or key insights of what you've experienced?
Well, we are definitely experimenting, so it's that's a suggestion. The suggestion is really try to see what are the different opportunities. Like, for instance, as you mentioned, Cariplo decided to support us financially because we really see music as social change. So not just activities that were pretty much like doing social activities. We really see the whole sector and the contribution to the whole sector as a possible social change. So. Tackling, seeing our activities, our mission in this way, we can really try to differentiate the kind of interlocutors and people that we try to talk to involve them financially, but not only financially, also in terms of different ways of supporting us, in different ways. So the suggestion would be based on what we do and what we are doing and what we are trying to do, because it's not done yet at all, is really to see the different perspectives and try to merge them to grow something which we think it's valuable and it's worth growing.
Thank you very much. I think this partnership idea is also extremely interesting for the audience here. So thanks a lot
thank you
for the interview and for sharing your experiences. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you very much to both Eveline for really an excellent presentation of the tool and all the features. The tool is already available online, so you can already scroll, put in your preferences and find your own financing mix. So test it out and give us your feedback while you're here. The whole team would really appreciate it. And really thanks to Anna once again. I think it's a really interesting story about how you're really mixing it together, and I hope a lot of people are inspired by your story, and I think a lot of them might approach you actually to ask for detailed information. There are a lot of people here in the music business, but in general, it's a really inspiring example. So we are now moving on to the second tool that we're launching today, which is my IP, my intellectual property, and I'm inviting colleagues from the Intellectual Property Institute from Luxembourg, Onur and Cyril, as well as Damiano Picci, who from the Beast Records, who is our inspiring example on how to use IP for your benefit. So please join me here on the stage.
So, first of all, good morning, everyone. And we're here, yes, to talk about intellectual property. Intellectual property, it's not the usual business you're dealing with, you might guess. But in fact, yes, it is. Because intellectual property, it's in fact at the heart of the cultural and creative industries in the cultural sector. The works that are created, the creations, in fact, come from ideas. And ideas, once they are in fact expressed under a certain format, becomes piece of intellectual property. And that's why it's at the heart of the sector and why it is important to manage it. However, there is a limited use of the tools that are in fact at disposal to in fact protect the intellectual property. I mean the intellectual property rights, if I accept copyright that you might be more familiar with. And this is partly due to the fact that, in fact, it's not easy to understand intellectual property and the information about intellectual property that is provided everywhere. And the access to the resources related to IP is not always easy, and especially not easy to find once it's specialized, when it's IP information dedicated to the sector. So, however, there are challenges in evaluating and defending the intellectual property that is developed in the sector. So that was the reason, one of the reasons why we decided to develop a tool on intellectual property. So what will you get using this tool? You will get links. You will get links to external resources that will allow you to better understand, to better use and better manage intellectual property. So tools dedicated to the sector. not to another one. Really, we filtered and we're looking for information dedicated to the sector, and we analyzed that in order to suit the best as possible your needs. What it did us in the end, an access to around 260 tools classified according to the different CCI subsectors, so architecture, audiovisual, fashion, literature, music, etc. What type of rights the tools are about? The main 4 IP rights that you can deal with, so patents, trademarks, designs, but one of the mostly and commonly used, copyright, of course. Type of resources that you will find some business cases, information, training examples, but also you will have also classified the information according to the languages and to some IP topics. So you can here have a look at the tool online, the online tool that is available on the Creative Unite website. So under the tool section here, you have access to the intellectual property tool. So once inside, what will you get? You will get this. So brief information here about intellectual property. Here, an explanation about the main IP tools, for example, copyright. Once you click on it, you have brief information about copyright. Not too much, because we know it's not your favorite topic always, but concise information helping you to better understand what it is about. How to use the tool? In fact, it's a kind of parallel with the Unit for Money tool. We have introduced information, and you can use it. You can use the tool by filtering the information according to several categories. For example, where are you from? You could be working in architecture, in literature, media, music. You just click on one element of the sector, and automatically you have provided on screen the tools related to the sector. What else? Some other parameters that you will have are also filtering through the type of IP right here. Again, as it is the case for the tool about So You Need Money here, rolling over the question mark will provide you a summary of what is the IP title about. The type of information you might be looking for is just business case, information, etc. The language of the tool. So all the languages for which we have found the tool are here. Kind of topics that the tool is about. So it could be about enforcement. What is enforcement? Okay. This is about legal actions around IP. The financing through IP, again, etc. Of course, the more parameters you will select, the less tool you will have as a result to your query. So it might be wise, because we have just 260 tools, to not restrict too much your searches in order to find relevant tools. If there are some tools during your exploration that you think are missing, it is possible. You know, it is quite difficult for us to find tools in all these wonderful European languages that we have in the Union. So we might miss some. So in that case, do not hesitate. Send us the information, and it will be a pleasure for us to add the tool you have identified, as long as it is, of course, relevant to our target. So let's take a few examples. Let's say that you're working, for example, on artistic craft, and then you can find, for example, a case study. And so it will link you to a descriptive sheet, a summary, what it is about. It's about design. It's an information about design, provided by the UK IP office, in English, of course. So you can click, and then you are directed to the tool. Here, a little movie explaining a case study, how can I protect my design. For example, let's go back to the previous screen. So, other examples, performing arts, where it is, yeah, there. Oops. I need to close the tool first. Performing arts, it is the same. You will get some information here. I don't know, performers, for example, talk about copyright. Again, an external source in English, you click, and you have the information about this, about copyright coming from copyrightusers.org. So you see, very, very easy, some useful resources, not too long to explore, really meaningful. That was also our purpose when we developed this tool, find elements that are useful to you. So I could continue like that, explaining you a lot of tools, but I let you discover it. What is so important to know is exactly from the same as the previous tool. Here you have a summary of your results. So what you are looking for here, the number of results here, and of course you can also remove this just by clicking on it. So that's what we have developed so far. We also developed some inspiring cases, let's say, and oops. Here we are. So some stories, experiences about IP, providing examples on the use, on the relevancy, and how these persons use IP in their activities in the cultural and creative industry. So far we have just uploaded 3 case studies. There are more to come in the coming months. And again, if you find some interesting case studies, if you have some interesting case studies to share, do not hesitate to ask us, and we'll get in touch with you to draft this and to publish it online. Yeah, that's globally all for the online tool. Talking about inspiring case studies, Onur, I think you have a good example with you today. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Cyril. Thank you. Yeah, indeed, intellectual property may sound a bit scary to the creatives. I know it. We have already discussed with the learning labs yesterday, right, guys? There, right? Yeah, I see them. But actually, yeah, it may sound scary, and it may be sometimes something that you would like to escape, but you cannot escape. But actually, you shouldn't escape as well, because it's a way to make money, it's a way to make profit, and it's a way to protect your works. That's why, like, it needs to be more accessible and more understandable for you, for the creatives, and that's why we developed that tool. And actually, it is really the backbone of the creative and the cultural industries. And indeed, you can really integrate intellectual property, copyright, patents, designs, trademarks into your businesses. And we have an example here where we are going to discuss a bit about intellectual property and a bit of history, and about how you can really integrate intellectual property in your businesses through this example. So I have Damiano here. Damiano, welcome.
Hi. Hello.
Wie geht het?
Ganz goed, en du?
Tip-top, merci. Alors, meer wij dan op English. So this is, by the way, Luxembourgish. So yes, we are talking about cultural industries. Like this, yeah, there's a language called Luxembourgish, and it is a very nice language. So
no, it is not.
No. Okay, this is not something that we need to say. You know, you mean to
okay,
speak
sorry.
here, right? Okay, anyway, so we would like to speak about intellectual property rights and how you integrate intellectual property rights into your businesses. But maybe it's better for us to start a bit about what you are doing, because I know that you have many companies that you are responsible of. You have Beast, you have Focus, you have Unison Studios, and metrics as well. So maybe you can just give a bit of information about these companies, and then maybe we can speak a bit more about AP later on.
Okay. Hello, my name is Damiano Picci. I work in different companies, as Onur said. Today I'm here with Beast Records. It's a label and management company for artists in the music industry. We do publishing, licensing, and we do management, and we organize studio sessions, song camps, and stuff like this. We are part of, and we are distributed by Warner Music. And yeah, I also work in other companies on strategy and development, especially in Luxembourg, because in Luxembourg, when I started, there were no industry at all, really nothing. And it was very shocking, and then we built companies around different areas in events and bookings, also innovative music technology. We have an immersive studio also, and yeah, and we try to also not only put an industry at place in Luxembourg, but also to develop it and to make it future-proof.
Okay, so you are supporting artists as well in Beast, right?
Yes, yes.
So are you working as a CMO? You know, like there are collective management societies, collective management organizations who are really supporting the artists about their rights. So are you working as a CMO?
Not really a CMO, no. It's more like someone which tries to explain the artists what it is about, how you can get money through authoring rights association, and how you submit yourself as an artist into those societies like SASAM. We, for example, with Beast Records, we work with SASAM, which is an authoring right organization.
Yeah, SASAM is in the CMO in Luxembourg, by the way. I mean, I'm sure that you also have many CMOs for different sectors in Portugal as well, and there are CMOs in other countries. So if you're an artist, in order to protect your rights and get more information, definitely you need to get in touch with your CMO in your own country to get more information about intellectual property rights. But okay, now I understand that you are not working as a CMO, but you're also supporting artists about their copyright and authoring rights. But how did you end up in IP then?
Very simple. I did very big mistakes.
Okay, we all do sometimes, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
What was it then?
Yeah, well, I was 19 years old. I went to Berlin. I was like, wow, the world is beautiful. You can create amazing stuff. I did music for an agency, which was not really like a label, more like an agency, a corporate agency, and I wrote music. And one day they said yeah, and I was like, yeah, it must be interesting because I write music for big brands and stuff like this, and maybe I can generate money from this. And then, because I was paid as an intern €500 per month, which was not so great. And then, yeah, I was like, okay, nice, cool. I asked them and what they say about that, and I'm also an author of SASAM and everything, and I'm admitted. And then the day after, I had 5 lawyers in front of me, and they got me a contract and they said, you sign this. And there on the contract was written that I was not writing any music, the whole internship at this agency. So I gave away all my rights because I was young, I had no support at all. And that was a bit also why I started feeling like we need to change this also in Luxembourg, because I wasn't aware about this. And afterwards, like the responsible for SASAM in Luxembourg, Mark Nix, I showed him the contract and he said, like, well, that's illegal, firstly. Then you signed it, which was the second big mistake you did. And the third mistake you not will do is like that you can't accept it like this. And yeah, so we tried to establish a publishing and licensing company in the music in Luxembourg. And we tried to get the artists to sign with SASAM to really show them how you can authorize a song over the SASAM platform, and you need to have contracts. For example, with us, we do a lot of contracts which are co-published by other labels like Sony or stuff like this. That's very complicated, and for artists, it's very complicated, and we try to be a first step for the artists to help them out. And even if we don't work with the artists, we love to give the artists a very important tip that they need to register every music and that they own the rights.
Okay, we've been talking about, you shouldn't be scared of intellectual property rights, you shouldn't escape. But now, okay, we are talking about it's very complicated, there are contracts and everything. Okay, it's true that there are contracts because these contracts are for you to protect yourselves and to make money out of your businesses. So that's why you always need to get in touch with your IP professionals in your countries or CMOs in your countries. And actually, that's why we have developed this tool, because this tool makes IP terminology a bit easier for you, and it's very understandable and accessible, and you can really find very good examples from your countries, and also with the languages that you speak as well. But I'm sure that it is very, very beneficial for you to use this tool. And definitely, if you know any other tools in your countries or the languages that you speak, if you would like to add some tools here, just let us know, so we can also add these tools so that it can also support the other artists around Europe as well. So maybe just a final question. Do you have any further suggestions about protection of intellectual property rights for the artists, for all creatives here?
Well, it's very important that you do it right from the scratch and from the start, because that's where I was wrong as a young producer and a musician, and that's also where other companies are wrong if they don't do it right from scratch. And that's really, even if you don't do it completely right, and you have people you can ask for, but it's very important that you think about this in the very initial step.
You shouldn't be scared. Okay, so
well, you can be scared.
Yeah, but we are here, you know, like to support everyone here in the creatives and culture industry. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, that's all from us.
Thank you very much, all three of you. I think we've at least hopefully made some people think, and I think in the future they will think also about what they sign and read very carefully. And thank you for sharing this private story, which is, I think, probably a story of many young creatives that experience the same thing.